I'm standing in front of a full-length mirror, and I barely recognize myself. The navy blue lace dress hugs my waist. The fishnet stockings feel impossibly delicate against my freshly shaved legs. My blonde wig, long, wavy with those dark roots I spent 20 minutes adjusting, cascades over my shoulders. The makeup. God, the makeup. Defined brows, winged eyeliner, deep red lipstick that makes my lips look fuller, softer, different. My heart is pounding so hard I can hear it in my ears. Behind me, Tracy stands calm, confident, holding the door keys in her hand. She's wearing that black turtleneck mini dress under her beige fur coat, looking effortlessly stunning like she always does. But her eyes are on me, studying me, proud of me. She doesn't ask if I'm ready. She just tilts her head slightly, gives me that knowing smile, and says 4 words that make my stomach drop. And in that moment, standing there in knee-high brown leather boots with a pointed toe and a slight heel, wearing a dress I never thought I'd wear outside my apartment, I realized something terrifying. She's serious. We're actually doing this. I didn't know then that stepping outside that night would change how I saw myself forever. My name is Brian. I'm 28 years old. And for as long as I can remember, I've been fascinated by femininity. Not in the way you might think, not as an observer, as a participant, a secret participant. It started young, maybe too young to even understand what it meant. I remember being 7 or 8, sneaking into my older sister's room when no one was home, running my fingers along the fabrics in her closet. The softness, the colors, the way everything felt so different from my own clothes. I'd slip on a dress sometimes, just for a minute, just to see. And I'd feel something. Something I didn't have words for. Something that felt like relief and terror all at once. As I got older, the fascination didn't fade. It grew, quietly, secretly, shamefully. I learned to hide it well. Or at least, I thought I did. By the time I was in my 20s, I had a small collection tucked away in the back of my closet. Things I'd bought online, delivered to P.O. boxes, hidden in bags labeled gym equipment or work supplies. A few dresses. Some heels. Makeup I barely knew how to use. A wig I justified as, for a costume party I might go to someday. I never went to that party. What's wrong with me? Why can't I just be normal? What would people think if they knew? I never told anyone. Not my friends, not my family, not even the therapist I saw briefly in college. It was my secret, my weight to carry. Until I met Tracy. Tracy walked into my life on a rainy Tuesday in October. We met at a coffee shop. One of those overpriced places with exposed brick and baristas who remember your name after 2 visits. I was there working on my laptop, pretending to be productive while mostly scrolling through social media. She sat down at the table next to mine with a book, a chai latte, and this energy that I can only describe as calm confidence. Like she knew exactly who she was and didn't need anyone's permission to exist. I noticed her immediately. How could I not? She had this natural beauty, minimal makeup, hair pulled back in a loose bun, wearing a simple sweater and jeans. But it was her presence that caught me, the way she seemed completely comfortable in her own skin. We started talking when she asked to borrow my phone charger. 1 conversation became 2. 2 became coffee dates. Coffee dates became dinner. Dinner became weekends together. Tracy was different from anyone I'd ever dated. She was open-minded in a way that felt genuine, not performative. She asked questions that actually required thought. She listened, really listened when I talked. And she had this way of seeing through that was both terrifying and comforting. She was 25, 3 years younger than me, but somehow felt wiser about life than I'd ever be. We'd been dating for about 6 months when things started to shift. Not in our relationship, that was going beautifully, but in what she was noticing about me. It was a Saturday morning in April. We'd spent the night at my place, and Tracy was making coffee in the kitchen while I was getting ready for a run. I walked into the living room in running shorts and a t-shirt, and she glanced up from her phone. Her eyes dropped to my legs and lingered. Just for a second, maybe 2, but I caught it. That look, that moment of processing. My legs were shaved. Completely, perfectly shaved. I'd done it the night before in the shower, like I'd been doing every week for the past year. I told myself it was for aerodynamics or comfort or whatever excuse I needed to justify it. But the truth? I just liked how it felt, how it looked. How it made me feel closer to that secret version of myself I kept hidden. Going for a run? Tracy asked casually, handing me a cup of coffee. Yeah, I said, trying to sound normal. Thought I'd do 5 miles. She nodded, smiled, didn't say anything else. But I saw it. That flicker of curiosity in her eyes. I thought I dodged it. I thought she'd forget. She didn't. Over the next few weeks, I started noticing her. The way her gaze would catch on my moisturized skin when I came out of the shower. The way she'd pause when she saw me fold a piece of clothing a certain way. Softer, more careful than most guys would. The way she'd watch me sometimes when we were watching TV, like she was trying to solve a puzzle. I wasn't hiding it well. I was hiding it desperately. And Tracy, with her quiet, observant nature, was piecing it together. Then came the night everything changed. We were at her apartment, curled up on the couch watching some forgettable rom-com. I was wearing soft joggers and a hoodie, my usual comfortable outfit. Tracy was leaning against me, her head on my shoulder. During a quiet moment in the film, she spoke without looking at me. "Brian, can I ask you something?" My heart immediately started racing. "Sure," I said, trying to sound calm. "Do you ever... I don't know how to say this." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "Do you ever wish you could express yourself differently?" The question hung in the air like smoke. I could feel my throat tightening, my palms getting sweaty. "What do you mean?" I asked, stalling. She sat up and turned to face me, her expression gentle, not accusing. "I've noticed things," she said softly. "The way you take care of yourself, the way you look at certain clothes when we're out shopping, the way you sometimes seem, I don't know, like you're holding something back." My mind was screaming, deny it, laugh it off, change the subject. But when I looked into her eyes, I didn't see judgment. I saw kindness, curiosity, safety. I started, then stopped. "I don't know what you're talking about." It was a lie. We both knew it. She reached over and took my hand. "Whatever it is," she said quietly, "you don't have to hide it from me." I didn't say anything that night, but 2 weeks later, after days of those words echoing in my head, after sleepless nights wondering if I could trust her with my truth, I told her. We were back at my apartment on a quiet Sunday afternoon. I'd been rehearsing what to say for days, playing out scenarios in my head, imagining her reactions, ranging from supportive to horrified. I was terrified. We were sitting on my bed, the TV playing something neither of us was watching, when I finally forced the words out. "Tracy, there's something I need to tell you." She muted the TV and turned to me, her full attention locked in. "Okay," she said simply. I took a deep breath. I like wearing women's clothes." The words felt massive leaving my mouth, like I'd just confessed to a crime. "Sometimes I dress up," I continued, the words tumbling out faster now. "When I'm alone, I have some things in my closet. Dresses, makeup, wigs. I don't know why. I've always been like this. I know it's weird. I know you probably think, Brian." Her voice was calm, steady. I stopped talking and looked at her. She wasn't shocked. She wasn't disgusted. She was smiling. "Thank you for trusting me with that," she said. That's it. That's all she said at first. Thank you. Not, "That's strange." Not, "I need time to think." Not, "I don't know if I can handle this." Just, "Thank you." I felt tears prick at my eyes. "You're not weirded out?" I asked. "No," she said. "I'm honored you told me." She squeezed my hand. "Can I ask you something?" she said. I nodded. "Does it make you happy when you dress up?" No one had ever asked me that before. I'd asked myself why 1,000 times. I'd wondered if it was normal, if it was wrong, if it meant something about my identity I wasn't ready to face. But happy? Yeah, I admitted quietly. It does. She smiled wider. "Then I want to see." My eyes went wide. "What?" "I want to see you," she said. "The way you see yourself when you're alone." Instead of judging me, she made a suggestion I never expected. "Let me help you," Tracy said. And that's how it started. Tracy didn't push. She didn't rush. She just opened the door. The next weekend, she came over with a bag. "I brought some things," she said casually, like she was talking about groceries. "Thought we could have some fun." Inside the bag, makeup. More than I'd ever owned. Professional quality. Foundations, contour kits, eyeshadow palettes in colors I'd only dreamed of using. "I used to do makeup for my friends in college," she explained. "I'm pretty good. Want me to try on you?" My heart was racing, but I nodded. We set up in my bathroom. "Better lighting," she said. I sat on the closed toilet seat while she stood in front of me, studying my face like an artist examining a canvas. "Close your eyes," she said softly. I did, and then I felt it. The cool touch of primer on my skin. The gentle dab of foundation. The soft brush of powder. She worked slowly, methodically, talking me through each step. I'm contouring your cheekbones now, adding a little blush here. Now for your eyes. The intimacy of it was overwhelming. Her fingers on my face, her breath close, the complete trust required to sit there with my eyes closed while she transformed me. Okay, she said finally. Open your eyes, but don't look yet. I opened my eyes and stared at her, not the mirror. She was smiling. You look beautiful, she said. Beautiful. Not good for a guy. Not interesting. Beautiful. Can I see? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She stepped aside. I turned to the mirror, and I gasped. The person staring back at me was me, but also not me. Softer. Feminine. My eyes looked bigger, framed by perfectly applied eyeliner. My lips, painted in a soft pink, looked full and inviting. My skin looked flawless. I looked like the version of myself I'd only seen in my imagination. Tears welled up in my eyes. Hey, don't cry, Tracy said quickly, grabbing tissues. You'll ruin the makeup. We both laughed. But I was crying happy tears. Relief tears. How does it feel, she asked. It feels right, I admitted. Over the next few weeks, it became our ritual. Friday nights, Tracy would come over. We'd order takeout, pour some wine, and she'd help me get ready. She taught me everything. How to properly apply foundation so it didn't look cakey. How to blend eyeshadow. How to walk in heels without looking like a newborn deer. She brought over clothes from her closet. Things that might fit me. Things we could experiment with. A black pencil skirt that hugged my hips. A flowy sundress that made me feel light and free. Leggings and oversized sweaters that were casual but undeniably feminine. And the wigs. God, the wigs. Tracy helped me shop online for the perfect one, long, wavy, blonde with dark roots. When it arrived, she spent an hour styling it, adjusting it on my head until it looked natural. There, she said, stepping back to admire her work. Perfect. I looked in the mirror and saw a woman looking back. Not Brian in drag. A woman. I wish I could go out like this, I said quietly, not meaning to say it out loud. Tracy's eyes met mine in the mirror. Why can't you? I laughed nervously. Because people would stare, they'd know, they'd judge. Maybe, she said, or maybe they wouldn't notice at all, or maybe they'd see exactly what I see, someone being themselves. I shook my head. I couldn't, I'd be too scared. She didn't push, but I could see the wheels turning in her mind. 2 weeks later, Tracy made her move. We were at her place, and I was fully dressed, wearing that navy blue lace dress she'd surprised me with, the one with the long sheer sleeves and the ruffled hem that ended mid-thigh. I'd paired it with the wide brown leather belt with gold medallion accents, black fishnet stockings, and those knee-high brown leather boots. My makeup was flawless. Tracy had outdone herself. I was sitting on her couch, feeling simultaneously incredible and trapped. You look amazing, Tracy said, sitting next to me. Thanks, I said. I feel amazing. Brian, she turned to face me fully. What if we went out? My smile froze. What? What if we went out together, she repeated. Just for a walk, maybe grab coffee. Nothing crazy. I laughed. A nervous, high-pitched sound. You're joking. I'm not, she said, her expression serious. I think you're ready, and I'll be right there with you. My mind immediately spiraled. People will stare. They'll whisper. They'll laugh. Someone might say something. Someone might hurt us. What if someone I know sees me? What if I can't? I said firmly. I'm sorry, Tracy, but I can't. She nodded slowly. Okay, she said. I understand. But I could see the disappointment in her eyes. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about her suggestion. About the possibility. What would it feel like to walk outside like this? To exist in the world as the version of myself I'd been hiding for 28 years? Terrifying, obviously, but also maybe freeing. I thought about all the times I'd hidden. All the shame. All the nights I'd locked myself in my apartment, dressed up, and wished I could just be. Tracy was offering me that chance, and I was too scared to take it. The next day, Tracy texted me. Can I come over tonight? I have something for you. When she arrived, she was carrying a shopping bag. What's this? I asked. She pulled out an outfit, the navy blue lace dress, the belt, the boots, everything. I bought these for you, she said. They're yours, not mine, yours. I stared at her, speechless. And tomorrow night, she continued, her voice gentle but firm, we're going out. Tracy, "You don't have to decide now," she said. "Just think about it, sleep on it, and tomorrow, we'll see." She laid the outfit on my bed like it was a challenge, a dare, an invitation. "I'll be here at 7, she said, kissing my cheek. "Whether you're ready or not." I didn't sleep that night either. I stared at that dress hanging on my closet door, and I realized something. I wasn't scared of being seen. I was scared of liking it. The next day passed in a blur of anxiety and anticipation. I called out sick from work. I couldn't focus on anything except what might happen that evening. At 3 p.m., I started getting ready. I took the longest shower of my life, shaving every inch of my body with obsessive precision. Legs, arms, chest, even my hands and feet, anywhere that might be visible. The water ran cold before I was done. I stood in front of the mirror wrapped in a towel, staring at my smooth skin. This is really happening. I started with skincare. Moisturizer, primer. Creating the perfect base. Then foundation. I'd watched enough of Tracy's tutorials to know the basics, but my hands were shaking so badly I had to redo my right cheek twice. Contour. Highlight. Blush. Each step brought me closer to the person I wanted to be. Eyeshadow. A soft bronze that made my eyes pop. Eyeliner. Winged. Dramatic. Perfect after 4 attempts. Mascara. Lipstick. Deep red. Bold. Unapologetic. I stepped back and looked at my face. Stunning. I looked stunning. Next came the outfit. I pulled on the fishnet stockings slowly, carefully, feeling the delicate material stretch over my legs. The dress came next. Navy blue lace, soft and intricate against my skin. I zipped it up in the back, adjusted the neckline, added the brown leather belt around my waist. The boots. Brown leather, knee-high, pointed toe, slight heel. I wobbled slightly when I first stood up, but after a few steps I found my balance. The accessories. The small brown handbag. Gold jewelry. Simple. Elegant. And finally, the wig. I positioned it carefully on my head, adjusted the part, let the long blonde waves cascade over my shoulders. I turned to the mirror. And there she was. The version of me I'd been hiding. Confident. Feminine. Beautiful. Real. At 6:45, my phone buzzed. Tracy. On my way, you've got this. Quote dot. I paced my apartment in those heels, my heart hammering. What if I can't do this? What if I panic? What if? A knock at the door. I froze. Another knock. Brian? It's me. I walked to the door, each step feeling like walking toward a cliff edge. I opened it. Tracy stood there in her black turtleneck mini dress and beige fur coat, looking absolutely stunning. But her eyes were on me, and they were shining. "Oh my God," she whispered. "You look incredible." "I'm terrified," I admitted. "I know," she said, taking my hand, "but you're not doing this alone." She held up the door keys. "Ready?" I took a deep breath. "No." She smiled. "Perfect. Let's go anyway." The hallway of my apartment building had never felt longer. Each step echoed. The sound of my heels on the tile floor seemed impossibly loud. Tracy's hand was firm in mine. We reached the elevator. I pressed the button, waited. My reflection stared back at me in the polished metal doors. "That's me. That's actually me." The elevator dinged. Doors opened. Empty. We stepped inside. Tracy pressed the button for the ground floor. "How are you feeling?" she asked. "Like I might throw up," I said honestly. She laughed softly. "That's normal." The elevator descended. Each floor felt like a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2. Ground floor. The doors opened, and there was the lobby. Bright, open, public. The doorman, Marcus, a guy I'd exchanged polite nods with for 2 years, stood at his desk. My legs almost gave out. "I can't," I whispered. "Yes, you can," Tracy said firmly. "Walk with me. Head up. You belong here." We stepped out of the elevator. Marcus looked up. His eyes passed over Tracy first, then moved to me. I braced for impact, for recognition, for judgment. He smiled. "Evening, ladies. Have a nice night." "Ladies?" He'd said ladies. "Thank you," Tracy said smoothly. "You too." We walked past him. Out the door. Into the world. The cool evening air hit my face. The street was moderately busy. People walking home from work, couples heading to dinner, someone walking their dog. Normal Friday night activity. Except I was there, in a dress, in public. "Just breathe," Tracy murmured, one step at a time. We started walking. I was hyper-aware of everything. The click of my heels on the sidewalk. The way the dress moved when I walked. The slight bounce of my wig. People passed us. A businessman on his phone. A group of college students laughing. A woman pushing a stroller. Some glanced at us. Most didn't. No one stared. No one pointed. No one screamed, "That's a man in a dress." We were just two women walking down the street. "How are you doing?" Tracy asked. "I don't know," I said honestly. "I feel like everyone's looking at me." "They're not," she said. "People are way too focused on themselves to care about us." We turned a corner onto a busier street. More people. More exposure. My heart rate spiked again. And then someone looked at me longer than I expected. He was maybe in his 30s, standing outside a restaurant, waiting for someone. His eyes met mine. Held for a beat. 2 beats. I felt my chest tighten. He knows. He can tell. This is it. But then he smiled. Not a smirk. Not a knowing, mocking smile. A genuine, warm smile. And he nodded slightly. A polite acknowledgement, like I was just another person. I smiled back automatically. And he looked away, back at his phone. That was it. That was the whole interaction. "See," Tracy whispered. "You're doing great." We kept walking. And with each step, something inside me started to shift. The fear wasn't gone. It was still there, humming in the background. But it was being drowned out by something else. Wonder. Joy. Freedom. I was walking down the street in a dress, holding my girlfriend's hand, and the world hadn't ended. In fact, the world barely noticed. We stopped at a small park. Just a few benches, some trees, string lights overhead. "Want to sit for a minute?" Tracy asked. I nodded. We sat on a bench, and I finally let myself breathe fully. "How do you feel?" she asked. I didn't answer right away. I was too busy feeling. The cool breeze on my exposed legs, the weight of the wig on my head, the softness of the dress fabric, the strength of Tracy's hand in mine. I started, trying to find the right words. "I feel like I'm actually here, like I'm real." Tracy squeezed my hand. "You've always been real," she said softly. "You're just letting yourself be seen now." We stayed in that park for maybe 20 minutes. People walked by. A couple. A jogger. Someone walking 3 tiny dogs. No one cared. No one even gave us a second glance. And slowly, beautifully, I started to relax. My shoulders dropped from around my ears. My breathing slowed. I even laughed when one of the tiny dogs stopped to sniff Tracy's shoe. "I can't believe we're doing this," I said. "We are doing this," Tracy corrected. "And you're incredible." On the walk back to my apartment, I noticed something. My posture had changed. I wasn't hunched over, trying to make myself smaller. I was standing tall, walking with purpose, being myself. We passed my reflection in a storefront window, and for the first time I didn't look away. I looked at her, at me, and I liked what I saw. When we got back to my apartment, I immediately kicked off the boots and collapsed onto my couch. "Oh my God," I breathed. "My feet are killing me." Tracy laughed, sitting next to me. "Welcome to womanhood. Beauty is pain." We sat in comfortable silence for a moment. The adrenaline was wearing off, leaving behind a pleasant exhaustion. "So," Tracy said gently, "how do you feel, really?" I turned to look at her. This woman who had seen the most hidden part of me and hadn't run, who had taken my hand and walked with me into the world, who had given me permission to be myself. I paused, trying to capture the enormity of it. "I feel like something unlocked inside me tonight." "Yeah? This wasn't just about wearing a dress," I continued. "It was about being seen, being accepted, being enough." Tracy's eyes were glistening. "You've always been enough," she said. "Maybe," I said, "but I didn't feel it until tonight." We talked for hours that night. About identity, about fear, about all the versions of ourselves we hide from the world. I told her things I'd never told anyone. About the shame I'd carried since childhood. About the nights I'd spent Googling, "Am I transgender?" and "What does it mean to be feminine?" and closing the browser tabs in panic. About the desperate wish to just be normal, whatever that meant. You know what I realized tonight? I said. What? I spent so much time being scared of what people would think. I forgot to consider that most people weren't thinking about me at all. Tracy smiled. That's the secret, isn't it? Most people are too worried about their own stuff to judge yours. I wasted so much time being afraid, I said. You didn't waste anything, Tracy countered. You got here when you were ready, and I'm proud of you. Those words hit me harder than I expected. Proud of me, not in spite of this, because of this. Before Tracy left that night, she hugged me tight. Thank you for trusting me, she whispered. Thank you for letting me be part of this. Thank you for seeing me, I whispered back. In the days and weeks that followed, I thought a lot about that night, about what it meant to step outside. Not just physically, though that was huge, but emotionally. Psychologically. I'd spent 28 years building walls around the most authentic part of myself, brick by brick, fear by fear. And Tracy had helped me dismantle them. Not by tearing them down forcefully, but by showing me I didn't need them. I started dressing more regularly, not always in full feminine mode, sometimes just painting my nails or wearing more androgynous clothes, testing the waters, finding where I felt comfortable. Tracy never pushed, never demanded. She just held space for me to explore. We went out a few more times, always together, always safe. A late-night diner where we giggled over pancakes. A bookstore where I nervously browsed the women's fashion magazine section. A movie theater where I wore a simple dress and nobody noticed or cared. Each time, it got a little easier. The fear didn't disappear completely. I don't know if it ever will. But it became manageable, smaller. I also started connecting with other people online. Support groups, forums, communities of people who understood this specific brand of complicated. I realized I wasn't alone. There were thousands of us out there. People who felt caught between identities. People who loved femininity but didn't know where they fit. People who just wanted permission to be themselves. And slowly, I started to understand something important. There's no one right way to be. I didn't have to have all the answers. I didn't have to fit into a neat category. I could just be. Brian, who sometimes wears dresses. Brian, who loves makeup and heels and feeling pretty. Brian, who also loves video games and sports and masculine things. All of it could be true at once. I didn't have to choose. Looking back now, months later, I understand what Tracy gave me that night. It wasn't just the clothes or the makeup or the experience of going outside. It was permission. Permission to stop hiding. Permission to explore. Permission to exist as my full, complicated, beautiful self. Not everyone gets that. Not everyone has a Tracy. Someone who sees you. Really sees you. Someone who doesn't just tolerate your truth but celebrates it. Someone who holds your hand when you're terrified and says, let's go anyway. I know I'm lucky. I know there are people out there who can't do this, who don't have safe spaces, who would risk everything just to be themselves for 5 minutes. And my heart breaks for them. Because everyone deserves what I got that night. Everyone deserves to be seen, to be accepted, to be loved exactly as they are. If you're listening to this and you're hiding something, whatever it is, I want you to know you're not alone, you're not broken, you're not weird or wrong or too much. You're just you. And that's enough. Sometimes I still stand in front of that same mirror, wearing that same navy blue lace dress, that same blonde wig, those same brown leather boots. But now, when I look at my reflection, I don't see someone hiding. I see someone who was brave enough to step outside. Someone who chose authenticity over comfort. Someone who let themselves be seen. And that was enough. The end.
The Gender Diary exists to light that path with shared stories. Whether you found connection in this narrative, you're on your own journey of gender exploration, or you're here seeking understanding, your subscription fuels our mission. Every subscriber empowers us to keep illuminating these authentic experiences for our community. Kindly drop a comment below. Your voice adds to the tapestry of experiences that makes this space meaningful. Until our next story unfolds.